Yeah, which you can change that.
But I'm not sure that you can, actually, because I think what's here at the basis of it is a Gnostic idea that you can separate your soul and your body. And I know we don't like to use the word soul anymore, so we'll say your identity, man, or whatever, but that you can separate that from your body. And I just don't think you can. I think a woman is the sort of person who isn't a man. I think that's the basic definition of a woman.
What's a man then?
A man is the sort of person who isn't a woman.
How did you know we were women?
Because you look like women.
Okay.
And you sound like women, and when I talk to you, you give the impression that you're women.
So if a really good passing trans woman is here and you were mistaken?
Then I would be mistaken, but he would not be a woman.
No, but my point is that
I can be mistaken on rare occasions.
What you're looking at is secondary sex characteristics, and those are things that people can
Those are
change.
the signs that point to the reality of their sex.
This is all men.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back going to a new video, guys. Today, we're going to check out Mike and Knowles debates transgenderism. This is going to be good. I would love to check this video out with you guys. Let's go right into today's video, guys.
Pixie, I know you've kind of had some thoughts on this on your previous appearances. When it comes to feminism, obviously that's typically advocacy for equality, advocacy for women. I think it's important when we're talking about that to, again, define our terms. So as a nod to the Daily Wire and Matt Walsh, what is a woman?
You're gonna hate me for this one, Michael.
Lay it on.
But before I have Michael respond to you, I want all of you to respond. Why don't we have Pixie go, then Farah, and then Jasmine. Go ahead.
A woman is a person who acts and is perceived as our societal perception of a woman.
That's at least half of it.
Farah?
I'd like to do more research on this topic before publicizing an opinion. Veto.
Are you joking? That's really your answer?
That is my answer as of now.
Hey,
come on,
so
Farah,
even if you're not going to reason about it, let's just talk from your own personal prejudices and stuff. Come on, just between us gals.
Just between
us gals. That's your,
we can talk after the show.
What?
But I like to thoroughly think
even
out
Shia LaBeouf wants you to.
I like to thoroughly think out my opinions before publicizing them and platforming them.
Come on,
you don't have a hunch. I bet you have a hunch.
I didn't say I don't have a hunch, but that doesn't mean I want to platform my hunches.
Okay. It's too dangerous to venture an answer these days. Okay.
You have a hunch?
Yeah.
I would take kind of Pixie's view. I think women can be. I don't think trans women and biological women are the same, but I don't think trans women are men either. Like you can have an umbrella term for women and have both trans women and biological women under it without also saying that they're exactly the same and they have all the same issues and everything's the same.
If they're neither men nor women, what are they?
They are women. I said, but I would say they're a part of the umbrella of woman.
Okay, not a part of the umbrella of man.
They are because they're biological men.
So they're both.
You can be a trans man or a biological man, or you can be a trans woman and a biological woman. So depending on how you're looking at it, if you're looking at biology, they're not the same.
Can you though? Can your identity be different? Your metaphysical identity be different from
your biological identity can definitely be different than your social identity. Yeah.
How?
Easy. When this goes back to the whole chromosomes argument, but like you didn't check any of our chromosomes or biology before calling us a woman, right?
No, I think there are enough indicators.
But you base those indicators on like appearance. So obviously
all of my perception. Yeah. You look like women, you walk like women, you smell like women. I think you're women.
That's our point. It's a performance, and you're basing it off
the
of
secondary sex characteristics is what you're basing them on, and people can change their secondary sex.
Your bodies is what I'm basing it on.
Which you can change that.
But I'm not sure that you can, actually, because I think what's here at the basis of it is a Gnostic idea that you can separate your soul and your body. And I know we don't like to use the word soul anymore, so we'll say your identity, man, or whatever, but that you can separate that from your body. And I just don't think you can. I think a woman is the sort of person who isn't a man. I think that's the basic definition of a woman.
What's a man then?
A man is the sort of person who isn't a woman.
How did you know we were women?
Because you look like women.
Okay.
And you sound like women, and when I talk to you, you give the impression that you're women.
So if a really good passing trans woman is here and you were mistaken?
Then I would be mistaken, but he would not be a woman.
No, but my point is
I can be mistaken on rare occasions.
What you're looking at is secondary sex characteristics, and those are things that people can
Those are
change.
the signs that point to the reality of their sex.
This is all men and women, and
But I'm not saying the signs are synonymous with their sex. I'm saying the signs are signs, and the signs symbolize something.
But there is something to say about somebody that like you said, walks, talks, looks like a woman, and to say that this is now 100% a man, you have to say.
No, he would be performing as a woman, and he might even fool me depending on how much surgery he's had.
So he would socially be a woman.
He would try to do that, but I
he
don't
would
think
not just
society should
try.
recognize
He
those
would
He would
traits.
not
succeed
just
to the
try.
point-
He would
yeah.
succeed
to the point where
it
you
doesn't
don't even
matter.
realize.
Yeah.
Usually you do realize is the thing. I know they
like
convince
survivor
themselves that they
bias.
really but they I've met plenty of transsexuals because they protest my speeches, and they usually you can tell because. Again, it gets to what we're talking about at the very top of this debate, which was the question of human nature, right? I think me and old Uncle Aristotle believe that you're a body and a soul together. I'm not just my soul trapped in a useless body. I'm not just my body without a soul or totally separated from my soul. I think I'm a soul and a body together. So my body gives me much of my sex. To use the technical term, it's an inseparable accident of the individual. And I think that pertains to my whole person, because you can't separate those two, for the whole of my life.
If you change
Pixie,
your body.
can men get pregnant?
Can men get pregnant? Not biological men.
Okay.
Yeah, trans men can.
Okay.
Can we really divide men up like that? Like, I'm a biological man, but I'm a spiritual woman, and I'm a...
I mean, we do, what is it? We do classifications within gender all the time. Black woman, white woman, for example.
That'd be racial.
Yeah,
not
no, but
gender,
that's still within the scope of women. You're still saying, there's women who are black, there's women who are not black. There are women who have had SA experiences, there's women who haven't had experiences.
Race is real, though it's actually more difficult to pin down than sexual difference, but it's real. Yeah, there are different races, sure. So
Yeah.
you can black people and white people are different races, and men and women are different sexes.
Last thing
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. go ahead.
One can't become the other, except in the case of Michael Jackson, who he got the closest, but he was still. I think he was still a black guy.
Wasn't that vitiligo?
That's what he said.
Well, that's
what
okay.
he said. I don't know if I believe Michael
Okay.
Jackson because he was out.
Actually,
yeah.
you I don't want to say stumbled because that's condescending, but whatever. You stumbled onto something quite interesting.
I'm glad I did.
Because the whole idea is that when it comes to like the notion of race, the reason why Michael Jackson was technically never white, he was always black, is because we treat race as like a historical question. Basically, what we're asking when we ask somebody what's your race is basically what is your ancestry, like what got you here to be here now, versus sex or gender specifically, where we treat it more of a societal conception, like what are you performing as.
Yeah, I don't treat it that way at all, and I think that I think racial difference is real. The reason Michael Jackson's black is because he did Thriller. You know, I don't think you can't really change your race. Rachel Dolezal all tried, and she ruined her life because of it. But if you could, I mean, I'm kind of swarthy, right? You might think I'm like Arabic or Mexican or something, even though I'm Italian and waspy. I don't know, waspy, which you see in the Mayflower cigar, actually. But I certainly couldn't change my sex, because the difference between a black guy and a white guy, I'm not saying there are not differences, that there are physical differences, there are cultural differences, sure, maybe, but those differences are nothing compared to the difference between a man and a woman.
True.
Okay, the point is, I think what we're trying to get at here is that when it comes to like our conception of sex versus gender, we base our conception of gender on how somebody
Dustin
looks
Washburn donated
and acts
$200.
more than
This
anything
one-
else.
Michael,
through.
with your talk and logic about soul and body, do you believe it's possible for the wrong soul to be placed in the wrong body?
No, because I think, following old Uncle St. Thomas Aquinas, that the sex derives mostly from the body. So it would be incoherent to say that the soul is another sex. Because if the soul were a different sex, the soul being the substantial form of the body, it would mean that men and women are different species. And men and women have a lot of differences, but we're not.
Why did God
Think-
create
hold on,
gender
hold on.
dysphoria?
Dustin, thank you. Last thing on this, and I think, Pixie, you've had on your previous appearances, you've maybe had thoughts on this, and I think feminists tend to differ on this last topic that we're going to hit on when it comes to the trans discussion, sports. Do you think that there should be separation? What are your thoughts on, for example, trans women participating in women's sports?
Yeah, so I think what I've currently seen of the data and studies is that even after taking hormones and such, there might still be advantages in certain ways. So to me, it would be like, it's a theoretical question, like I would have to have more data, but basically if it seems that some of like these biological advantages are like too high or it cannot be mitigated enough, through the use of hormones and such, then yeah, it would be too much of an unfair advantage versus if the data shows otherwise, and it's like, no, actually it is like mitigated well enough. So that's my general stance on
Isn't it that aren't we just all slaves to like the data? You know, it's like, well, if the study shows,
I love the data.
Yeah, maybe, but the data are so manipulated. I mean, social scientific data, they're in a major replication crisis.
Well, if
right?
it wasn't, the scientific method is our best way to get to the truth.
Is it? I'm not sure about that.
I would say so. So I think it's the best we have. Otherwise, we just have our anecdotes and our feelings.
No,
and our
but
subjective
look,
opinions.
I'm all for empirical scientific analyses of the things that it can measure, but those are all physical things, and what we're talking about here is deeper than a physical thing, right? We're talking because we're not mere flesh. I don't think we think we're mere flesh.
Well, this is where we disagree, because we think that
you think you're just flesh?
No. We disagree on whether, like, you're like, oh, the issue here isn't the data. The data on whether this would be unfair to women is what I care about.
Well,
because if it wasn't, then I would say, yeah, they could do it.
The data on whether this is unfair to women are not going to come from some like dork economist. That those data are going to come from the reality of the different. It's going to come from natural scientists. Certainly, it's going to come from people who have an understanding of what human nature is and what justice is.
No, I don't think this is a human nature debate. I think this is about, does your muscle mass give you an advantage? And if you take hormones, it seems to not, like you said, reverse all of the advantages that you have.
How does a scientific study conclude something about fairness or justice? How do you measure justice under a
it doesn't jump
microscope?
to that conclusion, but we use their conclusions to then make our opinions.
Oh,
So-
you're saying so you would look at a scientific survey and say, wow, that big husky dude who swam against the women, turns out he was a lot faster than all those little women, and therefore I conclude that men competing against women in a women's sport is unjust.
No, what you should
I'm
do
with
is
you.
should be like, hey, okay, how do we realize if, like, okay, I don't know, should trans women compete with real women? I don't know. Do they have an unfair advantage
I
by
love
doing
that you
so?
slipped there and you said real women.
Well,
That's
biological
great.
women. Okay.
I
yeah,
love it.
biological.
No, you just accidentally
Yeah,
said
I
what we
think
all
that
know
makes
to be
sense.
true.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, biological women, you could argue, are real women, but that doesn't mean
Because
trans women are not.
Which
The
implies
point-
that the trans women are not really under the category.
They're not under the
real
category of
women.
biological women. And
No,
so
no,
what
you-
I
no,
want
you just said they're not
or
under the
even
category
under
of
the-
real women.
Okay, well, you can harp on that. My point here is
No,
that
I think it's.
if-
I'm not trying to get you. I'm just
Okay.
trying to point out you
the
have
point I'm
admitted-
trying to make is, if I'm trying to figure out the answer to this question, and the question for me is not what is natural or what is Catholicism say, it's, is this unfair to have trans women compete with real women? Well, I want to know, and the way to know that is to look at the science, not to just look at somebody.
How do you know what's fair and what's not fair?
In sports, to have an unfair advantage, and that you could.
Yes, unfair
You'd have to
things are
compare
unfair,
the
but how do you
averages.
know what
you'd
is
have to
unfair?
compare, like, right? Like, you would have to see, okay, if you, this is why they banned certain drugs. I don't know anything about sports. I'm assuming all this.
I'm
But,
just saying,
like,
how do you know what fairness is?
we all have, I would say that the only way you really know how fairness is that we all have kind of like a, we have a
Conscience?
feeling about it. That's all I can say.
Is it
no,
a feeling
I-
or is it
I
a
think-
is it a
what is
reasonable
it?
conscience?
You can
It's-
compare averages.
You can compare averages, yeah, but also the hunch, even the idea that we all want things to be fair is like an evolutionary, in my opinion, just thing that we all kind of
But
seem to
Michael
have
Phelps
because it
is
was
a faster
evolutionary
swimmer than some.
advantageous.
Michael Phelps is a faster swimmer than some guy we've never heard of. He does he have an unfair advantage over the guy we never heard of? They have different average swimming times. Is the average swimming time going to imply something about fairness and justice? No, you need something else to come to a conclusion about justice and fairness, and that's not going to be scientific.
Well,
It's
no,
going to be
we're not
philosophical
saying-
and ultimately
Yeah,
religious.
I agree. Philosophical.
Quick. Last points. Go ahead, Pixie.
I was gonna say, I do think that comparing averages does give us greater insight what's like fairness or not. So, for example, Michael Phelps competing with other Olympic swimmers is much more fair than Michael Phelps competing against like a completely average swimmer. So obviously, there's something to be said about people within like the same leagues or performing around the same level, and that's why we have like golden versus bronze versus like
Right.
silver categories.
Well, no, that would just be awards for the
Yeah,
people
no,
within
but
the
I'm
same
saying
category.
like
Yeah.
sorry, I should have said Division 1, Division 2, Division
Sure.
3.
So you're saying people who are of the same type, it would be fair for the people of the same type to compete against each other.
Yes.
But we've already established that trans women and real women are not of the same type, so they shouldn't compete against
Well,
each other.
that's why
Forget
we're-
about the averages.
That's why we're also saying that when it
And
comes to
then-
like hormones or certain supplements, if the divide gets bridged enough, then it might open to new discussion or different discussion.
so if,
that's why we're
if you
saying
pump
it's
yourself full of
data-based.
enough hormones, then the trans woman who is not a real woman could become a real woman?
It's not
Afterwards?
about being a real woman because, as we said
I
before,
was
these are
just
not just
using-
these are not just matters of the flesh, as you stated before. a lot of this is about societal perception of what a woman is, and that goes back to like certain actions and certain looks. So in our day-to-day life, that's what we rely the concept of woman on, actions and looks.
I guess I wouldn't trust society more than I would trust objective truth.
It's crazy how we've gotten into this era that we talk about trans women, and full grown women can't define what a woman is. You are a woman, you can't define what you are. It's terrible. It's really, really terrible. And it pains me that we've got to this part in the world, or this time in the world, that you see people afraid to say the truth. You understand? Michael was just speaking from a place of logic. He did not add any emotions to it or anything. It's just plain logic. You understand? Logic and the truth. And he didn't hide anything. And you see the other OF women, or let me don't call it OF, or the other women who were there, they were kind of like careful about picking their weights, about saying trans women are not real women, or about saying there's difference between trans women and biological man and real woman. Like, they're trying to be very cautious. And I like that no matter how you try to hide the truths, if you know the truth, the truth will come out. And that lady said that they are real women and they're trans women. And it's true. There are a big difference. They are not even the same. It's just men who feel like they're in the wrong body, who do some surgeries, take some hormones, and call themselves women. They can never give birth, as I mentioned before. They can never have cervical cancer. Some of them are genitalia, I see them. You understand? So it's just crazy that we're in an era of the world that you tend to debate with women, about womanhood. Like, how crazy can that be? It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. And it's not fair for biological women, people who are real women, to be in the same competition with the trans women doing the same competition, because they're definitely the trans women are going to win them in the same sports. You understand? They have more bone density, more agility. Like, there's difference margin between man and woman. Men always dominate. So they have ever tried it in the sports when they had little kids play with full-grown women. The little boys even dominated them in the sports. You understand? So even elderly old men play with professional football players who are female. The old men actually dominated them by scoring 11-0. So when it comes to like man and woman, there's massive gap. There is massive gap. So when someone who say he's a trans, taking puberty blockers and so forth, that does not exclude the fact that you're a man. Because if you have to die today, some diggings to you and take your bones, you'll find out that you're actually a man. So you can only deceive yourself and deceive people who choose to be deceived with you, but you can never deceive the entire world. You know, so the truth still remains the truth. Logic, you can never deny logic, no matter how you try to fool everyone. I like how Michael was very calm. He was very precise. He destroyed every single one of those women. Like, he was very calm. It's different from Charlie. Charlie said plain black. Michael said plain black. But at the same time, he was making them vomit the truth out from their own self. He wanted them to say the truth by their own self, not him saying it to them. That is something Michael was trying to do there. He wanted them to confess it out. Since I video, I'll try a bit to watch. Comment below what you think about this video. Give it also a thumbs up. Share this video to as many as you can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.